Hello, Leah Lachlan here. I am in my bathroom and I am going to tell you all about our new foundations. So, I've done about 10 hours of training on these brand new foundations. I've watched Robert Jones for 3 hours. I've watched Lori Hogg for a couple hours. I listened to Miranda Rains and got some advice from her. Let's see, Heather Daniel Kent, Emily Schutte. So I just want to give credit to all those people that I have learned from, as well as researching on InTouch and doing my own research on these foundations. And so I'm taking all of their brilliant information and training on this. And hopefully, right now, I want to give you a very clear, concise training on these foundations so you understand them, because when you understand them, you're far more likely to work with them, to sell them, to share them, to use them to grow your business. And that's what we want you to do. So, and for your own personal understanding, to make sure you're using our flawless face category the best that you can. Okay. So this is my attempt to do that. And so I've done about 10 hours of training. I've matched or helped to match about 20 faces. That was the best education, was just getting in front of real live faces, talking to real live people and striping, real live skin. That was the best education. So we're gonna, I have a few things to say in the introduction here, and then I'm gonna go through the features of the product. Then we're going to spend some time on undertones, because that's kind of a big category that I want to help bring some clarity and simplicity to. And then I'm going to talk about next steps, that regardless of what you want out of your business, here are some next things that you can do to support the growth of your business. So let's talk about this before I get into the features. I really enjoy change. I'm a person who likes change. For the most part, embrace change. I'm flexible with change. So sometimes I can skip over the fact or not acknowledge the fact that not everybody really likes the change. And I hope you view this as an opportunity, because that's what it is. Now, and to put it into perspective, what if we kept the same foundations from 1963, guys? What if we did that? Yikes, right? Would we still be in business? I don't think so. Those original glass bottles that my mom had in her bathroom are very original foundations. And now we've been through one, two, three, four. I think this is our fifth round of foundations in 60 years or so. And so change is necessary. Change is healthy. Change keeps us competitive. Change means that we're innovating and we're improving and we're upgrading. And I absolutely believe this is an upgrade in our foundation options. Technology continues to improve, research and development, the science behind the product's ingredients improve. So there's this progress of moving forward. So our products are naturally going to and should follow that progress. And we should not leave, our products should not be left behind just because everybody's comfortable with what stays the same. All right, so change is good, change is healthy. This is an upgrade, and this is an opportunity for you to grow your business and an opportunity to look better. Okay. So, what I'm telling people is run with this foundation for a year. Like for the next year, the next seminar year, you are you're doing a model search for 36 models in every shade that we have. And it probably would take you a year. Of course, you're going to get multiples in the more common shades, but take the year and build a 36 foundation model portfolio of before and afters, trying to find a woman in every single shade and go through the process of matching women in these shades. I think it's a fun concept. I think it's very attractive. I think it's very trendy and could be something that you just have as a maybe once a month you have a matching clinic, or maybe you do Zooms, or maybe you do one-on-ones for matching sessions. But I think it's something you could run with for the next seminar year to service your current clients and grow new customers. So remember, this is our number two category. Of course, skincare number one. Our number two category is the flawless face category, which includes the foundations and everything else that involves the foundation process. Okay, so foundation primer. So there are some things already on my skin. Of course, there's skincare. I went through my whole skincare routine, foundation primer. And then I don't know if you can tell because this lighting is really not ideal. And I think I have like the Zoom filter on where it makes you look better than you are. Um, and the lighting is kind of awkward. I've got a ring light coming in, but then I've got daylight behind me. So the lighting is not ideal, but I have half of my face done with Flawless Face, half of my face with foundation primer, under eye corrector, foundation, concealer, a little bit of translucent powder to set things, um, silky setting powder to finish it, and a little bit of blush. This side is done. This side is not. And I wish you could see how I'm seeing it in the mirror because it looks a little bit more dramatic than I think it looks here on Zoom. People comment like, oh, I just want really natural makeup, or I don't wear makeup because I just like a really natural look. Well, all that makeup, I'm like, I look a lot more healthy and natural than like this side that needs some help. So, you can create a really natural, flawless, fresh, youthful look with a lot of products. You need the tools. You need the tools to create a natural look. So I'm going to actually, when we talk about the tools, because I'm going to go through some of the tools, I'll do and demo the other side of my face in hopes that this like helps you just see the process actually happen. So this side's done, this side's not. Of course, I've got brows and some mascara on this side too. I don't want to look like totally crazy. So we did that. Um, all right. So let's talk about this foundation. Let me go through the features with you, which you would need to sort of like have some bullet point features in your mind. So as you are talking to people about this, you can just easily spit out a few bullet points. There's about like 10 main features with this foundation that are going to be important for you to know. And of course, foundation is not the first step in your makeup. You guys, it's the last step in taking care of your skin. The flawless face and foundation category creates a barrier between your skin and the environment and the sun. And so it is the last part of the skincare process. That's important to understand. Um, the flawless face category, I believe, is also a gateway to skincare. You almost can't match somebody without talking about their skin texture, the moisture in their skin, the oil in their skin. And so foundation naturally brings up issues with the skin, what they want to conceal, why they want to conceal it. So it's a gateway that if you don't have a skincare customer right now, it can often open the door to a skincare conversation. And then you can take that next step and that next layer with her to have a glowology session where you're really talking about skincare. So our foundation is in the skinification category. That's actually a real word and a real trend in the skincare industry right now, and a real desire among consumers that they want their makeup to have skincare benefits. And we are one of the very few, according to Robert Jones, who, if anybody would know, he would know, being the makeup artist that he is, that we're one of the very few that have a foundation that also carry the skincare benefits in the 3D complex, which we're all very familiar with. It's a part of our miracle set and has been a part of our foundation in the past. But there's the 3D complex, which is resveratrol. Uh, Kind of a tongue twister, but that is a powerful antioxidant, which is a protection from free radicals. Okay, so again, a barrier or a protection from what your skin is exposed to in the environment. So resveratrol. It also has vitamin B3. That is a natural skin brightener, skin illuminator. And then it's age age-defying peptides, which are supporting the natural production of collagen and elastin. Your skin naturally produces that. It just slows down as you age. And so products with the 3D complex help to speed up that process of collagen and elastin production. Okay, so those are the skincare benefits that are a part of this foundation. The company surveyed 3,000 women, and here are the results. 87% said their skin looks more natural. See, makeup helps you look more natural, not lack of makeup. 86% said it instantly created a smooth finish. 86% said it had a seamless match to their skin, and 80% said their skin looked and felt healthier. Okay, so some really good results from 3,000 studying 3,000 women or surveying them. Another feature, it is breathable. So it should feel like a second skin. I'll hear that objection a lot. Like, I don't want anything heavy on my skin. I don't like the feel of foundation. I don't want anything thick on my skin. This is breathable. It feels like this second skin. My skin feels better in foundation than it feels naked. Okay. And it truly should feel like that to all your clients. Very breathable, like a second skin. It's also non-comedogenic, which is an important feature to highlight. It just means it's not going to clog your pores. It is sweat and humidity resistant, not proof. Okay. You're still going to sweat and still be impacted by humidity, especially if you're a combination to oily. So it's not sweat and resist humidity proof, it's just resistant. Okay, it's going to help to control it throughout the day. And I don't know if I'd want a sweat and humidity proof foundation. I think you have to chisel that stuff off of your face. And so you want it to be breathable and wearable, like a second skin. It does have all day wear and it is transfer resistant, meaning you take your shirt off or give somebody a hug, you're not transferring your foundation to their clothing or your clothing. Now, if you were to rub it, you would. So it's not transfer proof, it's just transfer resistant. Anything that rubs consistently, it will wear off onto that piece of clothing, like a scarf or something, but not just like one swipe. Um, Again, probably don't want a transfer proof foundation. Also, important to bear in mind that our silky setting powder is not transfer resistant. Okay, powder, because of the nature of it, is far more transferable. And so I will set my liquid foundation with a powder, and that will transfer more than the liquid does. Okay. It is buildable from a medium coverage. One layer would be a medium coverage to a more full layer would be multiple layers of it. Okay, so it's buildable without getting cakey, without looking heavy, without looking mismatched. You can build on it. You would put one light layer on. It dries in about 15 to 30 seconds. So in less than a minute, you let it set and dry, and then you would put another thin layer on. Thin layers are your friend. You don't want to go with thick layers. It's far better to do a few thin layers than one thick layer. Okay. And same with your mascara, same with your concealer, your under eye corrector. Thin layers opposed to like heavy one layer. Um, IntelliMatch technology, that's another feature. So what that means is they took real skin tones, real shades of skin from real people and develop foundation based on those shades. They didn't do it the opposite way. They didn't develop foundations hoping they would match a variety of skin tones. They started with the skin tones and all the variety that there is in natural skin tone and use that natural tone to then create shades. And so they're skin mimicking because they started with the skin shade. And so now we have more than ever. We have 36 and we have more undertones and varieties. Um, because I think there's an increase in variety in skin tone. As ethnicities and different shades continue to mix, it creates more blended, more variance, more nuance in skin tone. And so, not surprised now, 60 years later, with technology improvements, product development improvements, and the variation in skin tone, of course, it makes sense that we'd have far more shades than we ever have. Let's have a conversation about luminous and matte. Let's have a conversation. I learned a lot this past weekend about luminous and matte. Luminous being moisturizing to the skin, and matte being oil control. Okay, that's really the difference between the two. One, and they don't have necessarily they're not a different shade. They don't go on as a different shade. They both have the same shade. One is just going to add moisture, which gives a dewy appearance, and one is going to control shine, which gives a more flat appearance. The matte is also, and then this is important to know, it is non-drying, so it's not going to dry out the skin as it controls the oil. Now, Lori Hogg said that anyone over 40 should wear a luminous. And that was news to me because I've always been like true matte foundation user for a long time because I have very, very oily skin and large pores. It doesn't take very long after putting fresh makeup on to really need to touch up and see the shine come through. So I would say I have very oily skin, not just oily skin, but like very oily skin. And so I've always used a matte. Now I'm over 40. So I'm like, do I need a luminous? Do I need a luminous to look younger? Maybe I do. Um, and so that's something to consider. So let me just continue to give you more information to help you decide. Um, because Robert gave a really interesting solution to this in his training is to combine them. Never had that thought before, never tried that before, but I was just listening to him yesterday and he combines the matte and the luminous to create a semi-matte, semi-luminous formula. And it would be, if you did it just strictly half and half, it would be semi-matte, semi-luminous. And you sort of get the benefits of both all in one without going too heavy in one direction. And if you even wanted to go heavier on one, you could do a 60-40. A 60-40 heavier on the luminous, it becomes a semi-luminous. 60-40 heavier on the matte, it becomes a semi-matte. Um, so that is a solution. I just learned this yesterday from Robert, so I haven't had a chance to try it, but that will be my next step in my own foundation experimentation is to combine them because I see the dewy look on people and I'm like, that looks good. Like she looks fresh. She looks dewy. It's very trendy right now, especially for younger people to have that sort of dewy appearance. Um, but I'm so oily. And so we're going to try it out. I'll let you know how it goes. Um, Couple more things about luminous and matte, that the sheen and dewiness in matte can draw attention to texture. Okay, so bear that in mind. So if a woman has very uneven texture, rough texture to her skin, as contrasted to like glass skin, like if she doesn't have that glass skin glow and that really smooth, even glow, the sheen in luminous will draw attention to that. So that's something to bear in mind as you are matching. Um, Matte takes a few moments to oxidize, to then be to its true color. Luminous does not. So when matching, a luminous will be at its true color right away. If you're matching with matte, which is fine to do, you would wait a few moments to allow it to oxidize before it's at its true color. Matte has more coverage than luminous, which is more sheer. Which in my mind, if Robert didn't say that, I would have probably flipped it in my mind. But matte has more coverage and luminous is more sheer, but both are buildable to a medium to full coverage. Okay. Another feature is that needle nose. I didn't realize how much I would love that, and I didn't realize how much I didn't love our other one because I never thought about it. But I've been using these and have so enjoyed the needle nose because it's just more precise. Whereas in our old one, it's very easy for it to just blob out. Um, Even after you've traveled and it's gotten jumbled up, you can unscrew the cap and it's just already oozing out. Not so with this. Like it doesn't come out till you give it a squeeze. And that's not the same in our old bottle. So this is very trendy in the industry right now to have the needle nose, and it's just far more precision. You're not going to waste as much. You're not going to overuse it because of that feature. Okay, let's talk about tools, the tools to use and the full flawless face, because I actually do consider the tools as a part of the flawless face category. And would be included. If a woman got a full flawless face set, it's around 200 retail when you include the tools, which are important to include. Now you will see me using my fingers because I'm going to demo this, but I would never just want to only have my fingers. The tools is what give it that fresh glow, that evenness, that airbrushed look that you just can't create with your fingers, and you really need a tool to be able to do that. So what I have here is our liquid foundation brush, the new sponge, which I love. I used it for this side. And then I've got the concealer brush and then the powder brush. Okay, so these are the tools that I have. Um, I will wash these before I use them. Okay, so I'll use them and just leave them. And then I will wash them so that they are, you always want to have your sponge damp. And I actually prefer my foundation brush. Although when you squeeze it dry, it really gets it pretty dry, but I almost prefer like a little bit of dampness when I use it. Robert said that you can clean them with anything you would put in your hair. Okay, so you can put it in your hair, you can clean your brushes with that. If you wouldn't put it in your hair, don't clean your brushes with it and your sponge. Um, so under eye, okay, let's talk about the difference between an under eye corrector and a concealer because people get these confused a lot. An under eye corrector is exactly what the name says. It's correcting discoloration, specifically purple, blue, dark discoloration. It has a high level of color pigment in peach. And so that peach pigment helps to correct that dark discoloration. And you would just use it in the place you need it. And I also use it as an eye primer for my eye makeup. Okay. Whereas a concealer also meant to conceal, but it is meant to be a bit brighter than your foundation. And it's used, and this is used before foundation, and this is used after. Okay, so color corrector before foundation, concealer after foundation for touching up and concealing anything you want to conceal after you have your foundation on, and also to brighten and create the under eye area to look far more natural and more youthful because of the brightness under there. Really makes your eyes like wake up. And so and this is important to tell customers, your under eye corrector is not meant to match your skin. Okay, it's not going to match your skin. That's why you put foundation on afterwards and blend it really well. It comes in light peach and dark peach, so two shades. So obviously not meant to match. So I always put my foundation concealer on here, and then we got the brush, and so we are applying to the darkness that I want to correct here. We're applying with the brush, and then I stipple with my finger. I also will stipple with this point of sponge. Okay, and then I do like to use it as a eyeshadow primer. Already looking better on this side. Way better. Thank God for makeup. Okay, so you just let that set and dry for a bit. I like to set it and finish it with the translucent powder. So once it sets, I just dust a very light coat of translucent powder. I feel like it locks it in. And then and then it's ready for my eyeshadow. I don't have any eyeshadow on, and I'm not going to do eyeshadow today just for the sake of time. But once that's all set, it's ready for eyeshadow application. So then let's jump into the foundation. I played a lot with matching a few weeks ago, matching my own skin. Um, Landed on Deep One in matte is what I'm using. I have a tan right now, so I would likely bump down to a medium 10 or medium 8 because those are olive undertones. Okay, so you always stay, once you know someone's undertone, you stay within their undertone. So I wouldn't, if I'm a deep 1, I wouldn't go to necessarily, I think it's medium 14. Medium 14 is the next like one in the range of foundations because medium 14 is not in my undertone. So you don't just go in order of the numbers, you go in order of the undertones. Okay, and Robert created a really amazing tool for that. It's a one-page chart that shows you all the undertones. Um, so this is my wet sponge that you would use, and you would be stippling. I've got the foundation here, and then I'm dipping the sponge and stippling it. The other tool that I love to use is our liquid foundation brush, which I use interchangeably. One thing I learned from Robert is that the brush is going to give you a more full coverage, whereas the sponge is going to give you a more sheer coverage. And I use them both fairly equally, depending on my mood. Um, okay, back to undertones. So deep one, I have a tan right now. I could bump up to a deep two, still in the olive undertones, if my tan continues to deepen. I actually tried deep two just out of curiosity, and it worked pretty well. It was a tad bit dark, but worked pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. Um, but then it's medium 8 and medium 10 are the foundations in the medium category that are within the olive undertone. Okay. So what Robert did, which was really smart, is he has 5 undertones and he listed all of our numbers, so light whatever number, medium whatever number, deep whatever number, in the undertone columns, which would be helpful to actually print and laminate and have those at your sessions, because then it becomes far more easy to navigate. Like, okay, if light whatever is too light, let's go to the next light or medium in that undertone category. So I'm gonna share that with people, so that you guys can see that it's a really helpful tool and resource. Um, Okay, so we've got deep one on. Robert also made the point that let's say you apply your first layer with your brush, but you like a little more coverage, just like here, maybe. Or maybe you have discoloration here. Wherever you want to have more full coverage, you could just do another layer here without really having to build the rest of it. Okay, so that was kind of something new that I learned. It's very flexible in building building layers. Okay. So then we're ready for our concealer. I really err for myself and for my customers. I err on a lighter concealer, and maybe I err too much. I feel like Robert would yell at me. Um, maybe I err too much, but I just prefer something a little bit brighter. So although I am a deep one, you guys, I'm using a light 3 concealer because I just like the brightness um, that it gives. Okay, so we're getting it right there in the corner. And then we stipple a little bit and bring it all the way over here. Much, much better. So it just gives it this brighter, more finished look. But that, I don't know if that's a like good advice thing or if that's just a me thing. I don't know if I'm giving you good advice when you're with your customers or like that's just how I prefer it. Because it's funny, people do have preferences, and you have to be aware of this when you're working with your clients, that their preference is the right answer. Even if it wouldn't be what you would choose for them, if it comes down to this or that and they just prefer this or they like how this looks, their preference is the right answer. Even if maybe Robert Jones and Lori Hogg would like teach in a different way. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're there to serve the customer. We're there to help her look beautiful in a way that she feels beautiful and likes to look. Now, don't let her go too crazy, because you don't want her out there with like the makeup line and saying she loves Mary Kay, right? So you don't want her to misrepresent our brand, but her preference is often the right answer. So, okay, let's talk undertones now. We've kind of touched on it, but I'm going to take a bit of a deeper dive into undertones. I still don't have blush on yet, and then you would finish it. I don't want to take the time to do blush and all that, but you would finish it with either translucent powder or the Silky Setty powder and just a really light dusting. It's another thing I learned from Robert is that you always set a liquid foundation, which is something I've always done, but he sort of reaffirmed my inclination to do that, is that you always set your liquid foundation. Okay. So that sort of finishes off our Flawless Face set. let's talk undertones, which is maybe the more complex and maybe like the bigger learning curve that we all have with these new foundations because of the nuance and the variance in the undertones. 80% of women wear the wrong shade or type of foundation, um, and 35% don't wear a foundation at all. And the main reason why is because they've never found the right shade. So those are helpful little stats to share, that kind of gets your client's attention when you share them in a session, because then they're wondering if they're that 80% that wears the wrong shade. They're like, oh man, maybe that's me. And then for those who aren't interested in it, I think it gives them confidence. Well, then maybe I can find the right shade if I had some education on this. So, how our foundations are named is first by their depth of pigment and then by their undertone. So light, medium, and deep refer to the depth. And then there's the description of the undertone that they have in them. So depth and undertone, which are two different things. We do have a very neutral based line, which is good news because most people are neutral. Okay, most of your clients are going to fall into the neutral category because neutral is a blend and it's the most common. I'll talk more about that in just a second. But you will sell the most of your more neutral shades. And I'm going to give you some tips on that for ordering demos and ordering samples. Um, there is one question that is the best question to determine her undertone. And there are other ways to figure it out, but this is, I think, the most straightforward and easy to understand is how does her skin react to the sun? That's it. How does your skin react to the sun? And then you can even give them options. And there's three main options, although there's offshoots of these, but the main options is she either burns and only burns, and she'll never really get a tan. Her skin will never really deepen. It's just going to burn, and then the burn is going to relieve, and she's going to burn again. Okay, burn then tan. Or she will burn first, but then can eventually build up to a tan. Now, that's where there's a lot of variation because people could burn first and get a deep dark tan, brown tan, but then people could burn first and maybe get more of a golden orange tan. So that's when like some variation comes into play. But important to know if her skin has the capacity to tan because that's going to be a big indicator on her undertone. Or there are people who just tan very easily, they don't burn at all. Okay, so how does her skin react to the sun? Those are the three main categories, and her answers to those questions are 9 times out of 10 gonna help you nail her undertone. Um, and at least know a really good place to start. Um, Now, some tricky things, okay, some things that are tricky to be aware of is other factors that are causing her to look pink that are not related to undertone. Okay, other factors that are causing her to look pink or red that are not related to undertone. That can be very tricky. So she could have a neutral undertone, but have a lot of red in her face or pink in her face because of rosacea, irritation. She could have a damaged skin barrier that causes a lot of redness and irritation. She could have recent sun exposure. It could be a hormonal thing. It could be medications that cause her face, even her neck and chest, to look very pink, even though her undertone is not. Okay, so those are the hardest people to match to me, who have a lot of pink and red in here, but not necessarily in their neck and chest. And then when we were matching this past weekend, we had a lot of people do this, like, show me your forearms. I want to see your forearms. And we had people like pulling their shirt down and showing us our forearms, so we could really get a complete picture of her undertone, which sometimes the face does not reveal. Okay, so you're going to rely on neck and chest. I wouldn't recommend, we didn't match on the chest and décolleté area. Lori Hogg went through that, and it was super helpful to watch her do that. We didn't necessarily use neck and décolleté to match, but we did look at it and look at forearms to help understand people's undertone. Um, Okay, so here is some variance in opinion. As I've been listening to all these brilliant people talk about foundation, there is some like leeway with people's opinions. And they're really strong about their opinions, which I love. So I'm just gonna kind of present it to you. Um, it hopes that this helps you kind of navigate it. Miranda Raines is a Mary Kay consultant and also a image consultant in the Mary Kay world. And she broke it down in a way that really helped my brain because let's like find the most simple common denominator. Like let's create the most simple image of what this could be. And she said there's really only uh, two undertones. Now hang with me here. Okay, hang with me. But she said there's really only two, you're cool or you're warm. And that helps me to think of only two. Now there's a lot of variance in there, but really like if you think of just two, like you're a cool or a warm, that helps my brain make sense of it. I hope it helps yours too. Now, then what happens when you start to mix cool and warm together? Okay, you take the two and you mix them, which most people are mixed. You get neutral. Okay, so you get cool and warm. Now you have three categories, which is neutral, which is a mix of cool and warm. And then within the neutral category, you could lean a little bit warm. So you're a neutral warm. Or you could lean a little bit cool. So you could be a neutral cool. Okay, so we started with two, then we added three with the neutral, and then we have some variances which way you lean or how strong your blend is of cool and warm. Okay, so that really helps me to make sense of undertones. Robert breaks it down into five undertone categories, which also very much helped me. Okay, so there's the pink and red category. Pink would be for ivory and beige or light and medium. And red would be found in medium to deep bronze and ebony skin. Okay, so pink and red. Then we've got yellow and neutral. Okay, that's the blend of cool and warm. Then we've got olive, which leans more on the warm side. And then we've got peach, which is more on the warm side. Then we've got golden orange, which leans more in the warm category. And then we've got warm brown. Okay, so if you took the five that Robert teaches and trains on, that he has a really great chart on, um, and just broke it down into three, you'd have pink and red, yellow and neutral, and warm, and olive, peach, golden orange, and warm brown would all fall into the warm category. Okay. Um, so then where we really expanded is in our medium and deep category. And there are far more options and nuance now in the medium and deep category, which was needed. So to help with bronze and ebony and deep skin, Robert did a great job on this. He said if their skin just stays the same throughout the year and doesn't really react to sun exposure, and it just really stays consistent, they have red or warm brown in their undertone for a bronze ebony skin tone. If a bronze ebony skin tone deepens with sun exposure, then they're a neutral, an olive, or a golden orange. Okay, bronze ebony skin deepens, they're a neutral, an olive, or a golden orange. Okay, I found that to be really helpful. So that is a description of the undertones that I really hope that it helps you. When we did our matching, we printed off the company's chart that now Robert's got a chart, Lori's got a chart. There have been other charts made by other consultants in the company, but some chart that makes sense to your brain where you can see what the undertones are. Without that chart, we would have been a little bit lost. But with the chart, we were able to navigate. And what we did is we narrowed it down to two or three that we thought that she was based on depth of her skin. And that's just, is she light, medium, or deep? Does she have a lot of color pigment or just a little bit? So we looked at her depth and then we asked her the question about how her skin reacts and went with her answer and put her into an undertone category and then guessed two or three. We're like, you're either this, or this. Well, let's check them out. And so then we take those two or three, and then we stripe tested her here right next to each other. And there was always one that just appeared as if it disappeared. It appeared as if it just melted into her skin. There was always that one that stood out. Um, Actually, a better way to describe it, there was that one that disappeared. They were like, did we even put it there? Did we put it there? Yeah. Did we put foundation there? We're like, yeah, we did. That must be the shade. And so then after testing those two or three, then she would apply that shade to her skin. And that system seemed to work really well. Okay, so let's finish with some next steps. Okay, so some next steps. What do you do now with all this information? How do you grow your business? What steps do you want to take? So let me just give you, I'm gonna give you two steps. We're gonna keep this super simple. With the concept of like, I want you to service your current clients, I want you to service them, and then I want you to gain new clients. Okay, we're gonna service the current ones we have, shepherd them, steward what we've been given, provide customer service to create customer loyalty and deepen relationships and really add value to the current clients that you have. And then we want to find new ones too. And so I want you to make a list of all your current clients using a foundation or a CC cream. And yes, I would even do the CC cream ones. Even if they told you they're not interested in the liquid foundation, things can change. So I'd have a working list somewhere visible in your planner, in your office, on a spreadsheet, digitally, somewhere where you know exactly who your foundation clients are, CC cream clients are. And then I would work to follow up with every single one of them. Um, Here's what you don't want to have happen. You don't want her to run out of her current CC cream or foundation and 5 months from now contact you and say, hey, I need a new beige N200. And you're like, oh crap, we don't have that anymore. And she doesn't know. And you never took the initiative to tell her. I think it looks unprofessional and like you did not see her need in advance to be able to service her the best that you can. And it gives you that oh crap feeling like, oh crap, we launched new foundations 6 months ago. And she's just now finding out. And you never want people to be surprised, like, oh, I can't get it. Like, I'm like squeezing out the last drop of this foundation and I need a new one. And you're telling me I can't get it, like, and you don't have it. You want to avoid that situation. Um, because it might take a minute to get with her to match her. And she's leaving for a trip tomorrow and she needs a foundation. Okay, so that creates possibly losing her as a client or losing her as a foundation client because she's got to go run out and get something because she needs it now because she's on her last drop. She doesn't have time to meet with you to match it. Okay, so you see how being very, very proactive with your foundation clients is going to be really important to build trust, to add value, to know that she like, hey, I know you wear this shade and you love it, so I gotta let you know we're upgrading. Okay, and I would love to, like, as a complimentary service to you, like, I will match it, I will give you samples, I will help you find the perfect match that's in our upgraded formula. Even though I know you just got a bottle of this, I want to make sure we know what your new shade would be. Okay, so you got to do that with your current clients. Don't let her be surprised. Don't let her think that you forgot her. Don't put her in a pinch with running out of a foundation that she loves. Um, and oh, I was going to say one more thing about your current clients. Um, oh, this is what I was going to say. We still have some of our previous 3D. She may want to and choose to stock up on that. And that's a great option. You could have it in inventory. You can still get it on InTouch. If she chooses to stock up on that, great. And then you let her know, like, hey, when you run out of this, girl, I will hook you up. We will meet. We'll find the perfect shade. It's an upgraded formula. It's still all the things you love about this one, but better. I'll make sure we match you and you feel great in it. Let's connect. And do you mind if I follow up in 3 months to see how much you have left? Okay, so that's what you can do with your current clients. And then to find new, the script that we have been running with and that I've been loving, and I think is really fun, is a model search. Okay, you're doing a model search and you're looking for 36 models for our 36 new shades. And you want to have a model in each shade, and it's a foundation portfolio that you're building of before and after pictures with these models. And so that is the script you could use to do any kind of thing. You could use that script when you're warm chattering. and you see a woman, you want to connect with her, it could be like, hey, I'm doing this model search and I just saw your skin. I love your skin tone. I don't think I have a model in that skin tone yet. We have 36 shades we're trying to match. Like, hey, would you be open to have you ever had your foundation matched? And if not, would you be open to finding the perfect shade? Okay, so warm chatting, you can use the 36 model portfolio. You can use it with current customers who either are not on foundation or are. You could reach out to either, make that offer to either. And then just with new people, with referrals, with new people that you meet at your skincare classes. I mean, you tell everybody you're building this before and after foundation portfolio, looking for 36 models, and it'll probably take you a year to find all 36. Knowing you're going to find a lot in the more common shades, and then might take a little bit longer to find some of the other shades. Okay, so that's your strategy to build, to service current clients and to build new ones. And then the last thing I want to say is about getting demos, because you're going to need to have demos of this. In the perfect ideal world, you can get every shade, and even more ideally in matte and luminous, and you can just have the full set, which would be 72 foundations in matte and luminous of all 36 shades. So that's in the perfect world. Um, if that's not an option and you need to build to that, you get the neutrals, you guys, in your most common skin demographic, whether that's light, medium, or deep, or a mix. You stick to the neutrals. Get the neutrals. You're going to sell those the most. They're going to match the most people. So you get the neutrals, and then maybe if you can't get all of them, you're getting samples in more of the fringe, less common, more nuanced undertone categories so that you have those ones in case you need them, but then you've got the demos for the most common. Um, and samples are helpful to have for people out of town too. You don't necessarily need to be in town to be able to foundation match, or you can use samples to be able to do that and do a quick FaceTime. So, okay, I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense. I hope you feel empowered. I hope you feel confident. I hope this motivates you to play with your own shade and understand it for yourself. And I hope this is a catalyst to growing your business, a catalyst to serving your customers, and a catalyst to finding new ones. So, love you guys. Have a great day.